with Coca-Cola, the drink of togetherness.
It's the World Cup special. It's Around the Wickets on ThePapare.com. Hello and welcome. Yes, you can see us smiling, not just me, these two gentlemen as well, as obviously there is a very good reason for all of us to smile, and I'm sure you watching also must be smiling because it was a fantastic win. Sri Lanka came virtually from behind to beat England by 20 runs, and before I get into my experts, I just want to take you through some very interesting stats. You know, it is the first time in 11 years that England have failed to chase down a target of 233 or below. Now that is very interesting, and also the very first time that England have been all out in this current World Cup. So Sri Lanka can be very proud, not just because they won the game, they have certainly created a huge dent in the England camp. Anyway, I got two gentlemen with me. I don't think I have to ask you anything special. Let's start off with Jehan Mubarak. You must be over the moon.
No, it was a very good performance. I didn't, at the beginning of the tournament, I didn't rate our chances against England, in England. But the match that we played, like we discussed previously, Sri Lanka were fearless with their selection, with the options that they took on the field, especially with the bowling. Batting, there are still a few areas that we can improve on, but the attitude that we took onto the field, the momentum that we took back into the dressing room was fantastic. And we played like the Sri Lanka of old, where we play with nothing to lose. We love when we're underdogs, when the expectations on us are low. And we really started showing what the Sri Lankan team is capable of.
You said fearless, he said fearsome. And I was saying that's the first time that England have been coined with the word fearsome. I don't take anything away from what he said, but talk us through. What did you see in the Sri Lankan effort?
I thought some of the decisions made by England, especially when it came to chasing down the score, some of the strokes they played, you know, they took it a bit easier. Even the commentators, when they were chasing 233, you know, they were expecting them to win in 40 overs. So that's what the mentality was. But you know, Sri Lanka, as Mubarak said, you know, we turned the tables right around with Lassit picking up those early the 2 wickets. And ever since then, I mean, for example, Johnny Bairstow walking up with a wrong glove. You know, those are little things which will, you know, in cricket, you know, we have played this game for a long time. We know that.
Tells you that you're relaxing.
Tells you that you're not in the game that day. That's a silly mistake. And I'm not saying that he got out because of that, but it definitely distracted. And Johnny Bairstow is the one who has given them a good start in the rest of the game. So little mistakes work for us, and fantastic bowling effort. And you look at Dimit Karnason's captaincy, very impressive.
Yeah, I thought it was a reflection of how England played. We'll dig deep a little bit more into that, but I need to take you through some very interesting stats, particularly very happy stats for Sri Lanka at Headingley. In 2006, both of you were there, I think, on that tour, when Sri Lanka virtually whitewashed England in that series. And I remember that was one of the most unhappy days for England. There were two other reasons for that. Sri Lanka won the one-day series 5-0. Upul Taranga and Jayasuriya thrashed the taillights out of England, scoring 300 something plus in 40 overs. England lost a World Cup quarter-final to Portugal. I still remember that. It was a penalty.
Wimbledon tennis.
Penalty. Sure, no, Fred Truman died. Fred Truman, the Yorkshire son, died. So there were three calamities.
I remember Wimbledon, the British tennis player lost the same day as well.
Must be, but these two were quite huge because, see, the giant screen showed the England-Portugal game immediately after Sri Lanka beat England. And the penalty shootouts were everywhere. And then, well, we heard about Fred Truman. So 2006, then 2014, the famous win of the second last ball where England were beaten in a test series, and now in 2019, Sri Lanka beating England. Of course, Sri Lanka hasn't been beaten by England since 1999 in a World Cup game. Now, we can talk a lot about individual efforts. Lasith Malinga was outstanding, Angelo Matthews was brilliant, but let's look into where it actually went wrong for England. Right, at the start, we were watching and we felt that Matthews was selfish, honest. I felt Matthews was playing a very selfish game. With the second last ball, he ducked a short delivery when you needed runs. Kusal Mendes appeared to be struggling. But then, it also taught me something. Don't judge a pitch watching on television.
I think that's a mistake everyone made. We all thought this was a 300 pitch. which was probably a 260, 270 pitch.
Yeah.
And the players assessed that much better than we did from here, obviously, and they are in the best position to do that. And also, yes, these players are out of form. Kusal Mendis, Angelo Matthews out of form. And maybe they took a little bit more time to play themselves in, maybe looking at going longer into the tournament to spend some time in the middle, and sometimes players do that. And also you tell yourself, look, let's just get something on the board. Let's get 230, let's get 250 rather than getting out. Let's give our bowlers something to bowl at, and which is what we ended up having. We had 233 and then we gave our bowlers something to work with.
Now, Maha, you were telling us that you felt that England didn't look prepared, like, you know, they were taking things easy. But with the bat in hand, did you see that England were playing their brand of cricket? I thought they were a little bit too circumspect at the start. They were not looking to be aggressive. They were not looking for those normal shots. Again, it could be the pitch, but at least that aggression at the top where the pressure was not transferred back to Sri Lanka. Just allowed Nuwan Pradeep and Malinga to create that, you know, indecisiveness, if that's the right word. Do you think I have made a fair statement?
I mean, you did. And I also think that they missed Jason Roy.
Yeah.
I think James Finch is struggling a lot, and Jason Roy is not naturally a attacking player. They miss him a lot. So I reckon how they start, especially with Bairstow losing his wicket in the first over, and wins 2 good strokes, but in the end, you know, he was caught in the slips. They never looked in the game. I mean, you take at Ian Morgan, you know, got out to a full toss with a brilliant catch by Surudan. I mean, they kept on losing wickets in regular intervals, so they never had momentum chasing down a score. And even Josh Butler, I mean, the planning what we had for Josh Butler, having a straight mid on and a middle wide mid on, having a mid wicket open, trying to get him to play across. That's exactly what he did, and he missed the ball. So overall, as I said, Dimuth, Lassit, and all these senior players got spot on few of the planning what they did for England's individual batsmen. I think it worked out.
Luck favors the brave. Yeah. Because, you know, if you look at those 2 LBWs, if you look at Bairstow, if you look at Butler, I think they were both umpires' calls, weren't they?
Butler was all 3 reds.
Okay. Right. Bairstow was
umpire's call. And the review. Very good review on Joe Root.
On the leg side, that was fantastic.
That was a big turning point.
That was a really good one. But I also felt that there were some moments in the game that Sri Lanka really could have lost it. And I felt that Sri Lanka came back strongly. One little sessions. The first one was Avishka Fernando counter punching. 2 wickets for 3 runs. Yeah. 1 more wicket would have pushed us back tremendously. That little session, I thought, gave some belief to the Sri Lankans.
Very similar to Aravinder's innings in the
against
96
India.
semi-final against India, where we were down, and he came and he batted like he was batting on a different pitch. Avishka did the same thing. He gave Kusal Mendis and Angelo a little bit of luxury to play themselves in. And Avishka, he doesn't feel he's out of form. He hasn't heard a lot of negative stuff being said about him. So he went out there, played his brand of cricket. He not worried about the pace of Jofra Archer or Mahmood. He took them on, and he looked very comfortable against the extra pace with the ball coming on to him and the ball that is up here. He was very comfortable against the
Some of the pull shots were sumptuous, weren't they? And they were not blind. He was watching.
Was in control.
He was watching. He was in control, not even off the top edge. It was off the middle of the bat. It was one special effort. Maha, you like to add something?
I mean, he looked, as Mubarak said, he had a lot of time. Some of the strokes being played in the offside and the straight drive passing, the mid-on field, the pull shots. I mean, just as you said, the Mubarak, I thought he just came out, nothing to fear, his first World Cup game, making his debut. It looked so easy for him.
Made a great impression.
It would have been really nice for him to get at least his half century.
Yeah. But I think, okay, it could be just a few runs that separated the half century and that innings, but I think he's made a great impression.
No, definitely.
And that impression is going to last for a very long time. Definitely. And if Sri Lanka goes on and gets somewhere in this World Cup, a lot of us could credit that innings as the starting point. Yeah. Of course, all the others joined in.
Momentum definitely
but
shifted.
That was the starting point. That was the starting point. Now, looking at the points table, now after 6 games, Sri Lanka have got 6 points. Now, that's good. Won 2, lost 2 and no results. They got South Africa, West Indies and India. Then, now this is the scenario. We've been given a scenario, so let's see whether my experts also agree with this scenario. If Sri Lanka wins 2 out of 3, do they have a chance to qualify for the semi-final. It's the first thing. Now in this mood, I know India is high riding. Surely it's not impossible. We can upset India.
It's not impossible. And these are top teams, England, India. I felt England backed themselves into a corner where they put themselves under pressure. And even the best players, the best teams in the world, under pressure, they make mistakes. We saw South Africa make mistakes against New Zealand. We saw India make mistakes against Afghanistan. England making mistakes against Sri Lanka. So pressure does strain stings to even the best players. So now everyone is under pressure. England, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka have always been under pressure, so it's not new to us. But these top teams under pressure, how are they going to cope? Are they going to change their team selections? Are they going to change their batting order? They're missing some of their key players through injury, Shikhar Dhawan, Jason Roy. So now things are going to get a bit
This is where the panic sets in, if at all. So if Sri Lanka wins 2 out of 3, then England, let's assume England lose all their matches, and Pakistan and Bangladesh lose 1 out of their remaining 3. And then we go on in another scenario. If Sri Lanka wins 3 out of 3, now it says that Sri Lanka will still have to depend on other results where they're really not straightforward. They got to wait and watch to see what the others might do. That's not a good situation.
No, it's the brilliance of this World Cup. I think everyone is they're not sure what position they're going to be, and especially England. They got 3 big games coming up: Australia, New Zealand, India. That's top 4, at least top 3 teams in the
no, it's good for
table,
it's good for the tournament, as you say. But I'm saying it's not good for Sri Lanka.
I mean, it all depends on the Durham. What wickets are we going to get? Generally, it's wet, it's cloudy, it's overcast. I mean, if the weather god is with us, cold as well. I mean, it depends on how the wickets are going to be for us.
Right, now we've been watching a very grumpy Damit Veerasinghe always. He's been not been reporting a lot of good things. Of course, he did report the Afghanistan match. I'm sure the mood must be different after the England game. Let's listen to him.
Thank you, Roshan. Yes, it's absolutely a massive win for Sri Lanka here in Headingley. They will take a lot of pride and a lot of heart in beating England. The pre-tournament favourites, the home team, they have been bulldozing over some of the opponents in the World Cup, but now Sri Lanka, they kept their momentum, they kept their game strength intact, and they defended 232 runs. Excellent stuff by Lasith Malinga. How good is he as a bowler? How good is he as a leader for Sri Lanka in crunch games like this? Dhananjay De Silva bowled well, taking 3 wickets. Angelo Matthews with the bat, he finally clicked on 85 runs in 115 balls. Now Sri Lanka have an outside chance of making to the semi-finals. They have another 3 games. They'll be playing South Africa on the 28th. That will also be a crunch game because South Africa haven't been doing well this tournament. So if Sri Lanka can pull off another 2 wins from the rest of the 3 games, they have South Africa, West Indies and India. So if they can pull off another 2 wins, they'll definitely be making the semi-finals. So all in all, excellent stuff by Sri Lanka. This is the upset of the tournament. So that's me, Damit Veerasinghe, reporting for ThePapare.com from Headingley.
Welcome back. Well, we're talking about the next game coming up, and that is going to be Sri Lanka versus South Africa. Now, Sri Lanka is in a very good position. South Africa just lost to Pakistan. Sri Lanka has dethroned or beaten a tournament favourite or contender, and it is at Chester Street in Durham. We briefly touched about Durham before we went into this break, but let's focus more seriously on Durham. South African bowling versus Sri Lankan batting. Both of you have played at Durham, and those pitches during this time of the year. What are your thoughts?
I'm not too sure what to expect at Durham, to be honest. I mean, the big grass or something similar what we saw at Headingley. Not too sure, but overall, going into the game, we'll be in high riding confidence, and whereas South Africa, after losing to Pakistan yesterday, their confidence will be low and they know that they're out of the contention. So that may be something that we've been waiting for. I mean, when they come, they are under pressure just to win at least something. So we got the right foot in the right time. So I think if whatever we do, bat or ball, if we start well again, I think we'll have a good chance.
Let's talk about the South African mentality. I mean, you can look at it differently. Either you can say, we lost 5, we have nothing to gain, so we just go on and play. But on the other hand, they may come strong and say, we got to prove something. 5 games lost.
Yeah, they might come in with a nothing to lose attitude. But pressure is something that South Africans are more susceptible to than other teams. Over the years, historically, you see them.
They're called chokers, isn't it?
They're called chokers, and somehow, I don't know, it's a funny thing that pressure seems to affect them more. And in situations like this, they find themselves very difficult to pick themselves up. So I still think they might come in with a nothing to lose attitude, but I still feel Sri Lanka are best suited in this situation.
Yeah, obviously, I think the mental level is very good and strong. Just the record, South Africa has a better record than Sri Lanka overall. In ODIs, 43 versus 31, and in World Cups, 3 versus 1. And in the last meeting, Sri Lanka lost rather badly, 5 matches to 0. Now, one last question from both of you. Should Sri Lanka retain a winning team, or do you see any place for a change? Lots of people have asked the question about one name, Jehan Mendes. That's the name that everyone's talking about. Though I feel that Jehan Mendes deserves to be there. I don't know whether you can judge him on one game. But again, the surface. Surface will have to determine whether he should play or not. What are your thoughts?
I think, apart from that position, number 7, I think others are concrete. I think everyone will be fit and ready to go. They'll be there. But number 7 position, there will be some options. If the wicket is greener, maybe there's an option to play another seamer. Suranga, but then you have to understand the batting will get weaker. So it's a bit of a tough call to make, but definitely for me, it looks the number 7 is a bit questionable at the moment.
Do you think they'll look for an extra batsman?
Option 2, if they want to chase down a score, to get a batsman at number 7. So that's option 2. So lots and ifs and buts only for the number 7 position.
They might, and especially South Africa's Tahir is their main. So the left-hander batting in there, whether it is Jehan, Milinda or Thiri, whoever coming in, if they want to strengthen the batting, I think they will keep that batsman there. I don't think they'll go to the bowling option. But I feel whoever playing that they should give them a run, whether it's Milinda or Jehan. In and out is not ideal.
It's not helping the confidence at all. Anyway, that's the story on Around the Wickets on ThePapare.com, and I got to remind you that you need to visit the special hub of ThePapare.com for the 2019 World Cup. Exclusive and quality content is available to you on the www.thepapare.com/CWC19. And also, let me remind you that ThePapare.com is the only digital clip rights license for ICC in Sri Lanka. So don't miss it. Now, before I got to ask you the question of the week. Who was the player of the match in the tight game between Sri Lanka and South Africa in 2003? Mubarak, you should know that. Don't give the answer, but you should know that. That was the game we still try and taunt Sean Pollock with. Every time we meet him at commentary, we ask him, how do you miss it? And he wouldn't want to answer that question. Anyway, don't give the answer, but Jehan Mubarak was part of that squad in 2003. You'd like to give a hint?
I carried the Duckworth-Lewis calculation out, me and Nicky Boye. So the message was conveyed by the two of us.
So you mean Nicky Boye gave the wrong message?
Should catch him.
Anyway, interesting. So 2003, who was the player of the match in that game? Now, the last question was, which player holds the highest individual score in Sri Lanka-England World Cup encounters? The answer is in 2015, Lahiru Thirimana made 139 not out. The last week's winner, of course, congratulations to Mr. Mohammed. Also, just to remind you once more, just a little bit to tell you, to keep up with more original sports content, you can subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon down below so that you will get notifications as soon as there are new videos, new stories uploaded by ThePapare.com. So that's the story on Around the Wickets. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, we'll join you again with another smile after Sri Lanka, South Africa game. Until we see you there, it's goodbye.
Let's get together and cheer our Lions to victory. Let's rally behind our team at the Cricket World Cup.
We want a
With Coca-Cola, the drink of togetherness.